morning shine, shine, shine. Las Vegas, shine your light on me.
Welcome to Las Vegas Tonight with your award-winning host, Dale Davidson. Dale interviews fascinating guests from top-ranked celebrities to people just like you who have an important story to tell. For more than 15 years, Dale is broadcast every week from the fabulous Las Vegas Strip. He finds the people who really make Las Vegas a one-of-a-kind city and lets the world know just what's happening in this remarkable town. You'll discover why 50 million people visit the entertainment capital of the world every year. Stay tuned for another exciting episode of Las Vegas Tonight.
Welcome to Las Vegas Tonight. I'm your host, Dale Davidson. Boy, are you going to be glad you tuned in today. We have a very special guest for you. His name is Carter Stucker. He's originally from Las Vegas, Louisville, then Las Vegas.
Yeah.
But he came in from Tulsa.
Yep.
Just to see us today on Las Vegas Tonight. Thanks for coming, Carter.
Thank you, sir.
And we're friends. That'll be clear.
Yeah.
It was really nice of you to stop by.
Thank
we
you.
appreciate
Thank
it. Tell us a little bit about your trip coming up. Did you drive up?
Boy, did I.
Yeah.
Tell
me.
About 26 hours.
26 hours from
I
Tulsa.
stopped somewhere right near the Arizona-New Mexico border and took about a 3-hour nap in my car.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and then
You pressed on.
I made it here.
Let's talk about early Las Vegas, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Third grade, you saw an awful lot of change before you left again. Tell us what Vegas was like then.
Wow, when we first moved here?
Yeah.
Well, it's... I didn't know that was going to be the question, but actually, Las Vegas, it was an older day. I mean, third grade, I'm an old feller now, but it was a little slower, a little different. Fremont Street was a little more important,
Yeah.
But Las Vegas, actually, the whole time I lived here was the safest, most fun place to live.
Really?
Now we didn't do a lot of like we didn't know the last name or the first. We knew the first name and the last name of our neighbors.
Right. Yeah.
Didn't know what they did for a living or what have you. So people were kind of to themselves in those days. But the thing is we didn't worry about anything. We never took the keys out of our car. We never locked our house.
Wow.
It was a safe, lovely town.
Yeah. Do you know how big it was then? Was it over 100,000 maybe?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it. I just knew there was people when I was here. I was a kid.
What's incredible now is it's almost 3 million people now.
Yeah.
And I've been here 24 years and seen incredible change.
Yeah.
Former dirt roads are, 6 lanes now. It's absolutely astounding, the growth.
Where she lives in the areas west of here, that was all desert. We used to go out there and play.
Yeah.
Dune bugging and climbing, digging holes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So tell us about your family, brothers and sisters, parents. Tell me the story.
We moved here with my stepfather, was my dad at the time.
Right.
He was an entertainer. And then my mom, my family pretty much, my grandmother would come stay with us for part of the year. And,
that's nice.
My little brother and myself and my stepdad and my mom.
And your stepdad, what was his name?
His name was Billy Pace.
Billy Pace. And what kind of entertaining did he do?
Well, he played with... in the 50s, he played with a group called Boyd Bennett and the Rockets.
Okay.
Boyd Bennett was the first heartthrob, and Boyd Bennett and the Rockets was the first, my understanding, Rockabilly Hall of Fame member. And Bill Haley and the Comets and all those guys that we know about now used to open for those guys. Yeah.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then he played with Bon Monroe.
Oh, sure.
Who was a crooner and a trombone
he was a
player.
Crooner, yeah.
And my dad also played trombone.
He did.
He was a crooner himself.
Yeah.
And then he worked with B.B. King in West Memphis, Arkansas.
Wow, is that right?
Yeah.
That's where B.B. King was from, wasn't it?
No, he's from Mississippi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The Delta, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was, I was privileged to get to know him a little bit. When we weren't old enough to go to the shows, but when my dad and him reunited, seeing each other here, I got a phone number for his road manager, and I would call him and take my dates backstage, and we'd wait out on the side, and we'd watch the show from the side. As soon as it was over, Mr. King would come over and say, "Hi, Carter, who's this voice?" You know,
Wow.
and he was such a lovely person.
Wow, I'm glad to hear that.
And he spoke at our high school graduation as well.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah. And this is coincidentally, but in Tulsa, at the Tulsa Blues Festival, I was playing there. The last year he played concerts was at that concert. Last time I got to see him.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a great story. Yeah. He had a club here in Mirage.
Okay.
And it was B.B. King's Blues Club.
Right.
And some really great blues players, famous blues players, would come to play. And then he'd show up occasionally. You know, it was his place, so he was on the road or doing
he lived
whatever
here
he did.
too.
Yeah. But he would show up, and we used to go all the time because you'd hear some really good blues guitar.
Oh, absolutely. You know, he had guys in his band played with him for 30 and 40 years.
That says something about him as a boss.
They had retirements. They, you know, my understanding is, you know, and when they were not on the road, they were either at the Las Vegas Hilton or at the Flamingo Hilton.
Oh, is that right?
And
okay.
that's where I'd go see the shows.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. My dad worked there as a shift manager in the Keno business area.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
for a while.
Wow.
And they ran into each other, and that's how I got to get in there.
So, did you come to Christ here in Vegas?
Well, Mount Charleston.
Is that
close
true?
enough?
Yeah. Tell me the story.
Oh,
I think I've heard this.
You may have.
It's a great story.
When we moved here, we moved over to Cedar Gardens Apartments over on Cedar Avenue, right across from a little church at the time called Calvary Foursquare Church.
Oh yeah.
And we, of course, we played, and right across the street was this church. And
right.
And I don't want to take up all the time, but I'll share it real quick.
No,
they had just blacktopped the parking lot, and then they put a speed bump. Not in the parking, but along the edge of the sidewalk on both sides. What's a boy to do with a bicycle and a speed bump, you know?
Yeah, that's weird.
So I went over and I was jumping the bumps and what have you. And there was one car and a truck in the parking lot. And I'm riding around. I noticed I'm putting these like white marks on the thing. And I'm riding. I thought, I'm going to get in trouble. Better be careful. All of a sudden I said, "Young man." And I looked over and it was actually come out to be the pastor, one of the elders of the church. I said, "Come over here." And I thought, oh, I'm in trouble. And they go, "Would you like to go to Vacation Bible School?" And I said, "What is that?" Well, they explained it all to me, you know, drawing and coloring and prizes and candy and singing and learning Bible verses. I said, "Yeah."
That sounds like fun.
And well, anyway, so I did that, and it was so fun. You could win. They had all these prizes you could win. They give you wooden nickels. It was like a broomstick that cut and turned into little coins.
Oh, okay.
And I was winning everything I could. And they gave you points for bringing people, friends.
Oh, okay.
So we live in that neighborhood. Now I'm too old to get in trouble. They can't go back that far. But I would go around and I would invite these kids to go to Vacation Bible School.
Right.
And all I knew about Jesus, I went to Catholic school in first grade. That's all I knew about Jesus. But I loved going to this church.
Yeah.
And so I invite these kids, and then if they brought somebody, what have you, so I'd go right before Vacation Bible School and go round them up. And these kids say, "Well, I can't come." And, "Oh yeah, you are." You know, I threatened to beat them up. Well, yeah, I'm third grade.
That's great.
I couldn't have done too much damage, but I did invite a lot of kids, and I probably forced a few kids to go.
There you go.
Consequently, after that, my dad would be home during the day. My mom worked the day because he worked at night. And I was laying on the floor watching Gus Gouffre, and hear knock on the door in our apartment right there at Cedar Gardens. And it was the pastor and this guy that I said, "Oh no, oh no." And so they come in. I just act like I'm laying on my dog, watching Gus Gouffre going, and they start talking. They said, "You know, Carter's he's just such a sweet little guy. He brought, in the whole history of our church, he brought more people to Vacation Bible School than anybody." I thought, oh no. I'm just acting like I'm not hearing anything. I knew I was in trouble. They said, "Yeah, so Brother Shepherd wanted to pay his way to camp if it's all right." And I still didn't know what was going on. So I just knew that, they were going to say, "And we found out you were going to beat these kids up." And, so
kind of the mob way of bringing people to
we're in
Christ.
Las Vegas. What do you want? I haven't got it back then. But so I lay there. So they asked my dad. My dad says, "Well, hey, What? Like, I don't know what's going on. They said, he wants to know if you want to go to camp. I didn't know what it was. So they explained to me that they have, the cabins and with heaters in them and swings, and they went on hikes, and you had wiener roasts and all this other stuff.
Yeah,
and then they had the same kind of things at Vacation Bible School, coloring, painting, Bible stories, singing, and all this stuff.
Yeah, sure.
So I opted to go. But that's where I met Jesus. In fact, it was
Was it a campfire kind of deal, or what?
Well, no, they had buildings there. The camp was still there. I think they're remodeling it now, because I called. I want to go up there and I know the spot exactly where I got saved, and I want to go there. I shot a video a few years ago through the window because it was snowed in, and the guy that was in charge at the time says, "Yeah, you can come up as long as there's not kids sometime." And now they're remodeling. I haven't been able to get a hold of anybody.
Yeah.
But the exact spot is there was a door here. I know exactly.
Yeah.
And but it was interesting because the family I was brought up in. My mom was into Wiccan, and she was into
really,
she was a searcher. She would and sometimes we clashed as I got older, because I wanted to go to church and
she was opposed to it.
Yeah. Well, when it's Sunday was the day to clean the house, and she thought that hey. I said, well, let's clean the house on Saturday. I'll help you, Mom, but I'm going to church. I want to go to church, please,
Yeah.
And it was great because Mom met Jesus before she passed.
Really?
Amazing. But what happened, I'm just a kid, and it was a Foursquare church, so it was a little more on the Pentecostal side.
Right, yeah.
Signs and wonders, they pray for people.
Sure.
And I go on the first night there, and the guys that were teaching there was, one of them, both of them were just fabulous guys. But they would be praying and praying for kids. And I see these kids hitting the floor, and I'm going, where's he got the wires? I literally asked people, has he got a battery? What do you mean? He's shocking these kids. So I would never go up for the altar call because he wasn't going to shock me. Wasn't happening.
Yeah.
And
that's what it looked like to you.
Oh yeah, I just and I had no clue what was going on. Except, but the bottom line is, at the end of it was I felt the presence of God. I knew God was real because of the meetings we had there. That I am so grateful that I got to be there, and I went to Catholic school. I wanted to be a priest. I thought.
Right.
I'm glad that would have never worked, but I asked all the counselors these crazy questions, like, what's that language you're speaking in, all this other stuff.
Oh yeah.
I asked all those questions.
You didn't know about speaking in tongues or anything.
No, and they thought it was cute, but I was serious.
Yeah.
And long story short, the last night they were talking about how God was calling some of us to go into ministry, and that He would speak to this stuff, and they were having altar calls. I ain't going up there. I would not go. I wasn't getting shocked. It wasn't going to happen. And so after the service was over, everybody had left except for two guys kind of around the corner in the back. And there was a 2x4, what do they call those in the front of the church? I can't think of pew or altar. They had altars there, where people would come up, and that's where we'd pray.
Oh, okay.
So, and they just, said, ask Jesus come in your heart, and if He's calling you, to go into ministry.
Yeah.
And so I go over there and make sure everyone's around. And I said, God, I know You're real. I'm pretty, aware of God is just all over the place here.
Sure.
And I knew I said, I know You're real. And these people say that You want me to go into all the gospel or all the world and preach the gospel. And I don't even know what the gospel is. I told God just in third grade. I said, but I know what the world is, and I know what these preachers do. They're shocking these people. I didn't say that, but
that's what you thought, though.
Yeah, but And so while I'm there, I hear a voice. Now this sounds kind of crazy. Behind me, it says, "Go on to all the earth and preach the gospel." I got mad because I thought one of those guys had come up behind me. It was as clear as could be. Go into all the earth and preach the gospel.
Right.
And I turned around with so much anger, and there was nobody there. And then I just wept. I knew.
Yeah.
Now. It took a lot of years before I got there because, I had to go through puberty and teenage and all that other stuff.
Yeah,
and
sure. We all do.
I did a lot of crazy things, but I stayed in church all the way through high school, went to Life Bible College.
Wow.
And I'm so thankful for that little church and the people who put up with me.
Yeah. Did you think you wanted to be a pastor?
Well, I have been a pastor a few times.
Okay.
I've been an evangelist. I've traveled all over the world.
Yeah.
I've been involved in some missions, and I have a nonprofit corporation that sometimes we use for things for helping us with our ministry. It's you almost have to have one for some things.
Yes, you do.
But to me, that's not the important part. I find it, and don't get me wrong. I worked in nightclubs. I was a musician. I did all kinds of things other than what most Christians would do. But I never lost my faith. I did some things that I fell into, what have you. But but the Lord was always there. And so.
That's
anyway,
a wonderful story.
Well, thank you.
Wonderful story. And speaking of musician, we saw you walk in with your guitar.
Yeah.
At some point here, before our interview's done, I'm going to ask you to play something, sing something for us.
Well, I was telling Terry, I said, right now I have some neuropathy in my hands.
Oh, okay.
And I still play, because if I quit playing, I won't be able to. But I'm not quite a player right now. I used to play a lot better. I can still play, but nobody.
Strum, we won't know the difference.
Nobody'd want to hear this, but I appreciate the offer, but I'd really like to help out if I could. They go, that guy thinks he's a guitar player, right?
Well, good. Maybe we'll catch some video of you somewhere.
Well, actually, there's some videos that we got out there that has me playing on it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
They could give you that.
We can drop them in.
If you want to. I built gas can guitars out of 5-gallon jerry cans, and I got a video of me playing that and showing how it works.
I want to hear more about that.
Okay,
I was explaining that after you told me the story last night.
Okay, yeah.
And we all want to see it.
Okay, yeah, it's good. It's a decent video.
That's good. We'll be back with Carter Stucker in just a couple of minutes. Stick around.
Hi, I'm Carter with Fat Cat Guitar Musical Instruments. I build gas can guitars. You can go to our website at gascanguitars.com and see the different things we got going on. I want to make this video. We just built this custom, we call it the Stratogaster.
Hi, I'm Dale Davidson, host of Las Vegas Tonight. You know, radio has an enduring place in the heart of America. Sometimes it's music that can enliven your spirit or keep you company when you need some. More often for me, it's just been the right spoken word or two that can quiet my mind and soul. Radio brings me a reassuring word in the quiet of night or a welcoming voice early in the morning as I shake off the night's sleep and find my way into God's purpose for my day. And always, I find the best radio station is the one that brings me the best news, the gospel of Jesus Christ. My favorite radio station is KKVV in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's still right where it's been for years, at 1060 on the AM dial, hovering over Sin City like a gospel airship, broadcasting the good news of the abounding love that Jesus Christ has for every single one of us. No matter who you are or where you live, you can receive God's Word via the KKVV Gospel Airship. Just go to kkvv.com and click on Listen Live. KKVV is using all the tools that God's provided them, like podcasting and video streaming and video on demand, to produce programs that lift up our fellow believers and save the lost. If you feel a calling to speak to others about Jesus Christ on your very own show, pick up the phone and call the station. They'll be happy to tell you how. Call KKVV today at 702-731-5588 or drop them an email at kkvvradio@hotmail.com. Please join me in becoming part of the KKVV family. You'll be glad you did.
Welcome back to Las Vegas Tonight. Carter Stucker is with us. He drove in from Tulsa, Oklahoma, of all places. He grew up in Las Vegas, so he is sort of a native, real close to being a native.
Close as I could be to any place I've lived. This is the longest. Yeah.
That's what we tell people when I find a native or a long-time resident like you. I say, you're the one. Because it's really hard to find a native in Las Vegas.
Yeah, there was never nobody that was from here.
Yeah. Let's talk about your instruments. You play a couple of different kinds of guitars and drums as well, right?
I play guitar, bass, I play some drums, ukulele.
Ukulele,
and I make some of those instruments as well. So,
yeah. That's wonderful. Yeah. Where did you get your creativity? I know you're a designer, and you helped us with the cards that we pass out, the promo cards that we pass out for our show, and you did a great job. I appreciate it very much. So where'd that all come from?
You know what I have to say is I couldn't tell you. It had to be the Lord, really.
Yeah.
And because I can't go back. My dad would show me a few things. My mom would show me how to draw houses, stick paintings. I just one day, when I was probably in my 30s, decided I wanted to make a painting. And you never guess who I painted.
Who'd you paint?
B.B. King.
Is that right?
Yeah. That was my first portrait of anybody, and I did it. And how I did it, I never went to school for it. So I painted. People said, "Oh, we like this, and it's just good." And I said, "Well, I don't even know how to paint." I just squinted my eyes and looked at the dark spots at the painting, and I put the dark stuff in and worked from there. And they goes, "That's how you do it." No, that must have been the Lord,
Yeah.
So, but,
that's great.
Yeah.
And then off you went, doing it regularly, right?
Well, and my name is, if you spell my name, it's a C, and then it's A-R-T, and then E-R. So the art was in the name. So.
Oh, that's cute.
And when we were in Bible college, we found that words, names have something to do with who you are.
Really?
And I never thought about that until a few months ago. I was thinking about that. So now I really push on the art's in the middle. It's not, it's just in the name. So.
Oh, that's great. Tell me the story about meeting your birth father. This is, I've heard just a little bit about it, and I'm really interested in it.
My mom and dad divorced when I was very young. I had little memory. I had no memory of when they were together. And I had one memory when my mom took me there. I spent a week with my dad in Kentucky, and I can tell you stories that happened there. And all I could remember is he had a either a calf on his tooth or a silver tooth or something. He had a tooth, and I knew what his name was, and but I didn't really know anything other than that about him. And I looked for him when I started traveling in business, when I started traveling in ministry. Every hotel I went in, I looked for Gene Stucker.
Really?
And and every once in a while I'd find a Stucker and I called them if they knew Gene Stucker.
Yeah.
I was in Reno, I ran into a guy named Steve Stucker who was the district attorney there.
Okay.
And he was real nice, but he didn't know who it was. Eventually I found I ran into somebody in Kentucky, so it's got to be it. And they said, "Oh, you're looking for little Jeannie?" And I said, "Well, yeah, if it's Gene Stucker, my dad." And we got talking. She goes, "Oh, I think he is." And so he gave me a phone number, and I tried to call it. And the guy answered the phone and left a message, but he wasn't there. So I left a message, didn't hear anything. And I'm about 40 years old at this time.
Yes.
And I'd kind of given up. And we just moved into a new house in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. My wife and I, my kids, we get a phone call. I'm sitting in the floor playing with the dogs. I answer the call. "Hi, boy. So who's this?" "Your daddy." Oh.
Wow.
Yeah. And what a delight.
Was it?
Yeah. My mom and him they fought over who was 5 foot and one who was 4 3/4. They were very short, small people. I'm 6'1",
Yeah.
But the thing is, my personality is his.
Really?
We had the same disposition, he even crossed his legs the way I did.
Yeah.
Or I guess I did like his.
Yes.
And I got to know him a little bit and went to visit him in Ocala, Florida. He was in the racehorse business.
Right.
Ever since he was a boy. I was born in Louisville, Kentucky.
Right.
I got pictures of him this big on Churchill Downs,
He was a jockey.
He was a jockey for a while, then he was a trainer, and then he delivered babies, $1 million babies in Ocala, and then he took care of horses there. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. The proudest thing for me is to have met my dad. It gives me some clue of where I come from.
Yes.
And he was just everybody knew my dad. Everybody loved my dad. And
Wow.
stuff. Yeah.
Well, what a joy that you look at it that way. You didn't have any resentment that it took that long before you could find him or anything?
No, I wondered, but my dad pulled me outside one time and said, "You want to know what happened? I'm just going to tell you." He explained it to me. I said, "Okay."
Yeah.
He said, I want it to be a part of your life. I tried to be, and things happened, and just, excuse me. But, it was all good. I have nothing bad to say about my father.
Oh, that's sweet. Yeah, that's sweet. Let's go back to your mom a little bit if we can. You were talking about Wicca, and was she a witch?
No, my mom was a searcher, and she would get into Edgar Cayce. She got into kind of a Wiccan thing, and then in the later part of her life, she decided she was going to be Buddhist.
Okay.
The thing about my mother is we were always close, and she wanted God. She really did.
Yeah, she was looking for him.
And she had been involved in a Baptist church in Kentucky when she was younger and had accepted Christ, but she just didn't be, all these people convinced her that wasn't the deal,
Yeah.
But here I'm a preacher, and I was co-pastor of a church, and we had a prayer wall. And we had people from all over the world to call in their prayers, and people to our church, and we put these prayer walls on. And everybody on staff, our job was to go lay hands on those as we went there, going to the bathroom, praying for a couple people, And we saw miracle after miracle. My mom came down with cancer, lung cancer. And it was confirmed they had it. It was in here, and they was going to go in and take out the deal. And they went to take it out, and there was nothing in there, just a little black seed down the bottom. They couldn't figure out what it was. Took it out of her lung. And so she was healed. And she goes, wow, and she got it again. And then, and same thing, she ended up getting healed. God just took it away. They couldn't figure out what, it was obvious. It came back with biopsies. It was cancer, but, And then the last time she had got something in her bronchioles. And she was calls me, says, well, son, get your friends to pray for me. And so I said, well, we're going to pray in Jesus' name. And I said, he's the healer. She said, well, I don't know about that. And I said, wait a minute, Mom. I said, all your friends, your Baptist friends, not Baptist friends, your people that are Wiccan, your Buddhist friends and stuff like that, all the things, anyone pray for you? Did you get healed? No. I said, the Bible says there's one name above all names. I said, so the name of Jesus is really important. She goes, I never thought of that. Do you know my mom was very vindictive as far as if you messed with your family or something like that, you're toast.
Yeah,
she wouldn't. Yeah. She had people she never forgave, including my dad at the time. He came to visit me, and my mom was living next door. She wouldn't come out, and he wanted to talk to her and say hi to her, and she wouldn't have nothing to do with it. So she was very, very bitter. But at the end, and she didn't like my wife.
Really?
Yeah. She told me, she says, tell Susie I love her, and I'm sorry for treating her that way.
Wow.
And it wasn't too long after that she passed, but this last ailment she had, but she didn't die from the cancer. She got pneumonia threatened, and as I know, that's my understanding. So
okay.
I didn't want to say that's exactly what happened. And have my brother go, that's not what happened. But it was very special. So I know my mom was there.
Did you see in your ministry career and traveling all over the country, did you see healing take place?
Oh yeah.
Tell me about that.
Oh, wow.
And were you a healer?
No, not. I mean, the Bible says, all of us can lay hands on sick, see them recover, cast out devils. Yeah. I have a problem with some ministries because if you pray for two people and get healed, they turn you into Benny Hinn. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not against Benny Hinn, but what I'm saying is they think, put him on TV. And sometimes I think they're not ready for this, and maybe they've just, God's not prejudiced. These are for ones who believe. These things happen. They don't make you a healer or this or that and the other. And so I think a lot of people want to get the office, but they're just believers, which is fine. But don't make it something it's not.
Yes.
Maybe they'll probably get mad.
Did you see some remarkable healings?
Oh, absolutely.
Tell us about one.
Oh, let me think. Well, the one with my mom, of course.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Wow, I wish I was going to say, I wish I would have thought on this a little bit. But,
I'm really kind of curious about that today because recently, within the last month, I met a guy. He's a pastor and evangelist and has healing crusades. Mm-hmm. And I went to one, and I was a little skeptical because I'm a skeptical guy. I'm a trained journalist,
You got to be, yeah.
Yeah. And somebody went with me, and she she was healed of some back pain, and I saw some remarkable things, and people slain in the spirit, you know, falling on the ground and the whole deal, and it was real. I mean, you know, I could tell it was real, and you know, there unfortunately are fakers, you know, who will try anything, you know, to get you to give them money, but this was the real deal.
Yeah.
And
there's some absolute real deals out there.
I know, just remarkable healings. You know, people who can't hear, all of a sudden they can hear. People who are blind can see. You know, people who are crippled can get up and walk. And you know the history and you know the story, and sometimes you know the person, so you know it's real. So what's your explanation to non-Christians? And believe it or not, you know, we have millions of people who watch this show, and a lot of them tuned in because they saw the Vegas backdrop, you know, they possibly heard your name, and they want to watch Carter. So now here's a chance to say to them, no, this can be a real thing.
Yeah, it is a real thing. It's as tangible as your car. You know, it's your breath. God's crazy in love with us, Dale.
Yes.
If God was a person living on the earth, we go, you're nuts. He loves us regardless what we've done. And you know, and He had Jesus to pay the price for it, and He's not mad at us like a lot of people think. And in fact, He says He loved us so much that He sent His Son, you know. And there's several scriptures that talks about, you know, that the love of the Father, you know, His grace is sufficient. A lot of people want to think, well, I can go and do what I want in His art. No, His grace is as a father who, your children go out and run out in the street, you know. Well, you don't get mad and say, go to hell, you know. No, you want, you know, and God would that none would perish. He's not mad at people. And we didn't talk about this, but if I could share something. Right now, this is something I really believe, and I've preached this. I just preached it this week, and I've several times. It's a developing point of view.
Okay.
But you know, the word sin isn't smoke, drinking, running, doing this, and it means a couple explanations for it. In the English language, it means to miss the bullseye.
Really?
Sin is to miss the bullseye.
Okay.
The best dart player in the world, how many times he hit the bullseye?
That's right.
So if we were going to go to hell because we didn't do it, but God's not that way. Sin is actually, well, the word says, I knew you before you were in your mother's womb, right?
Yes.
And
Jeremiah.
And he created you for such a time as this. What an honor with all that's going on right now to be here at such a time as this, and God put you here on purpose. He must have a plan for you. He must have I don't know what word to use, but He created you for this, and only Dale can do what Dale was created to do. They call it calling. You were created for this.
Yes.
And I believe sin, the actual sin, all the stuff that we call sin is what it is, but the actual sin is to not find out and be intimate with the one who made you so you can find out what He created you to do.
Wow.
Our job, I believe, with all my heart, is to find out exactly what He created us for and do it. You know, and if it's some big job, it's not going to be hard because He created you for it.
Yes.
You know, if He made you a crescent wrench, you know, and you want to go out and drive nails with it, well, you're going to drive a few nails, but it's not going to be good. But if the crescent wrench is used what it's for. So if you find out what you're for and you do what you were created to do, you're going to be good at it. And you're equipped to do it and you're able to do it, right?
Sure.
And so, and God's not mad at us because of all these other things. And He says, the Father judges no man in the Word.
Right.
All right? And He said He laid that to the Son. Jesus paid the price for our sins.
Yes.
I believe actual sin is not finding out who you are, why you are, and what God has planned for you. And just like I can't prove God is real, I can't tell you what God's right for you. But if you ask Him, the prayer does work really good for me. I can't make a doctrine out of this because God uses whatever to get through to you.
Right.
But we've had really good success for asking God to speak to you in your dreams. A friend of mine, he journals every day. And God, before he got saved, well, he got saved, but I shared this with him. When we were in high school, we were told, you know, just get him to say the sinner's prayer and it's up to God, you know?
Right.
Well, and then I found the sinner's prayer was about 100 years old, and then I thought, well, and I was a little disillusioned, but he got so mad at me because I said, just say this prayer, and he got so mad he slammed the door. I thought he was going to break my windows or knock the car over. He was angry.
Yeah.
And we're still great friends. One of my best friends right now. And we went to the Four Cakes to have some chicken wings and one time, to eat.
Sure.
And he's witnessing to this waitress, and this waitress is rolling her eyes and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And he comes back and says, hey, look, I'm sorry, my friend he just wants you to know. I said, but I tell you something, God's crazy in love with you. And I shared some stories. And I said, ask him to speak to you in his dreams. Well, my friend, he said, God speaks to me every morning. I journal, and he still does it every day now.
Yeah.
This guy went from this guy that was so difficult to he's on fire. He's crazy in love with God. He's very good at sharing the gospel now.
Wow.
And he's involved in a home Bible study, and he's a part of it. I'm so glad he's one of my best friends.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's a great story, and I think a great way to do it. And in the next segment, I'm going to ask you to talk about that directly to the audience, because we've got millions and millions of people who have never met Jesus.
Don't put the pressure on or anything.
Just a little bit.
I think I just shared it, but I can do it again. Oh.
We'll be back with Carter Stucker right after this.
Across the ages, humanity is often gathered in prayer, especially in times of crisis and need. It's a natural response, but who are we speaking to? Is prayer merely a platitude or emotional cliche? Yahoo! Or is there a God on the other end of the line? And if so, can we speak to him? And what is he saying? What exactly is prayer? Theologian John Piper describes prayer as intentionally conveying a message to God. He also outlines 3 main approaches to prayer, which each depend on how you view God. If your perspective is that God is in everything and everything is God, including you, me, the sunrise, the humpback whale, the smoke lightly wafting from a sun. Well, you get the picture. Prayer from this perspective is all about connecting with the divinity within us and around us. The only problem is that if we are part of God, prayer can feel like a one-sided conversation. If you feel like God exists, but he's distant and unapproachable, then prayer can become about developing special techniques or higher levels of devotion and holiness in order for our words to reach God's ears. Hello. Or we just give up trying. However, when you read the Christian Bible, God shows himself not to be distant or silent, but to be personable, accessible, and a creator who speaks. In the creation story, we see him literally speak each created thing into existence, as if to open an external conversation with his creation. Howdy. And throughout the Bible, he consistently speaks to humanity. So if God speaks, how do we speak to him? A big part of God's conversation with humanity was the person of Jesus, who God sent to earth as the human manifestation of himself.
Thank you very much.
So that he could talk to us directly. The Bible literally refers to Jesus as the Word, God's Word. And he gave a direct answer when his friends asked him about how to speak to God. Jesus says prayer is simply and honestly talking to God. If something is on your mind, if there's a situation where you don't know what to do, you can talk to God about it. You don't have to pray in a church, and you don't have to sound religious. God loves you and wants you to be real with him. You can pray out loud. You can pray silently. He listens wherever and whenever. So how do we hear God? God's voice is described in the Bible as a still, small voice. Many people hear back from God by quieting the noise around them and pausing to listen. Or by reading the Bible, which God also calls his Word. The more you talk with someone, the more you get to know who they are. The God who speaks has started the conversation. If you haven't spoken in a while, why don't you try to pick it up again? It could change your life.
Welcome back to Las Vegas Tonight. I'm your host, Dale Davidson. Carter Stucker is with us. He's an evangelist. He's been a pastor. He's been a youth pastor. He's been a music pastor. He's done it all. And so we appreciate having you here.
Well, thank you, sir.
Let's talk about our nation a little bit. I've never seen it quite so divided as we see it today. And obviously, because, we're both followers of Christ, we see Jesus as the answer.
Mm-hmm.
How can we bring that understanding to people who are bitter and who are angry and who are separated from God and are just mad at the world? Because I like I said, I haven't seen it quite this bad. And I really believe that we need to do everything we can to heal this wound. What do you think?
Wow, I didn't know I was going to be asked this question. So
yeah, it's an easy one.
No, real easy one. Well, I agree with you. We're in a mess. We have, our country, what it stood for, how it was founded, and I understand there's this, but as bad as it was still a wonderful country. There's things that didn't always work or what have you. And what's going on now, I believe most of us really don't know the whole story. You know what I'm saying? And with media and with bias and all, I believe in this and people's agendas and stuff.
Right, sure.
And it's all right in your face too, with media on top of that. And then you got some media that's for it and some against. I don't know that the answer comes with government, but I think I don't want to sound preachery or something like that, but God will heal our land. What does it say? If you humble ourselves,
Yes.
Quit, when people that I disagree with on TV, I don't go, oh, well, I don't get up in those conspiracy things. My heart is that if they could find the God who's crazy in love with them and allow him to show himself real, you don't have to be a preacher to have a relationship with God. In fact, we were created to have fellowship with him. And as I was saying earlier about, he created you on the moon, and there's going to come a time Jesus is going to say one or two things. Come in, because he's the judge. What did you do with his blood? What did you do with his sacrifice? Right. And he's the one that has to judge that. And he's not mad at you because he knows the Father's heart is broke because he would that none would perish. He don't want anybody to go to hell.
Yes.
And, and all I can say is God is real, and Jesus is his son, and the Holy Spirit will move on you. I've seen it. If it wasn't real, I wouldn't have anything. If he hadn't spoke to me in third grade after that guy was shocking people, I would have nothing to do. I did a lot of things that I wasn't goody two shoes Christian. I worked in nightclubs. I was a typical young man. And I was caught up in Las Vegas lifestyle, but Jesus was always there, no matter what I did. I had to walk through the walk to finally get. And I'm sure I'm not perfect today. But I know without a doubt that he's real, and that he says he's not hard to find. Seek me, you will find me. You don't have, don't be afraid to read that book a little bit. It's hard to understand if you don't understand Christianese and you don't understand Bible language and stuff like that. But if you just talk to him, he will show himself, and he'll send somebody to teach you. That's, I won't get into my version of the church, but
sure.
I love Christian people, and I love people in general, all kinds of people. And it's not, I enjoy it. That's why I'm a people person. I get along, I just enjoy it. Mm-hmm. And my point of view is that God's real. I can't prove it, but he can. Give him a chance. If you seriously want to know, because there's going to be a day when you stand before Jesus, not the Father. The Father would that none would, but there has to be a line. And Jesus is the one that makes, he says one, two things. Come on, or depart from me. You were never intimate with me. That word, I knew you when you were in mother's womb.
Right.
That says, I knew you. It's an intimate word like a husband knows a wife.
Right.
And he says, depart from me. You never knew me. It's the same word.
Yeah.
He wants you to have a chance to have a relationship with him and be intimate with him. You don't have to be good. You don't have to be sweet. You don't have to be right. Get in his face and say, how can he turn down? That's what he's here for. He will not turn you down.
He created us in his image.
Yes, and he will show himself if you look for him.
Yeah.
And it's not about saying a magic prayer. It's not, and I get in trouble for using the word magic. Do what you need to do prayer-wise, but the bottom line is have a relationship. Intimacy is spending time. Mm-hmm. Today, at my age and my many years of I was saying, Lord, I want to be more intimate with you. I really don't want to miss the intimate things. And that means you get to know. When you're intimate with somebody, you know more things about them than anybody else you know knows. And they know more about you.
Right.
A husband knows a wife. You get married for a year. A year later, they know you better than you know yourself.
Oh, absolutely.
And vice versa.
Sure.
And intimacy, God created us for fellowship.
So it's simpler than people think.
And He loves us just like you are. I don't care. Personally, I don't care what your background is, how many tattoos you have, what color your hair is, what color your skin is. God is crazy in love with you.
Yeah.
He is just, and He woos you. If you'll just get in a little bit, you'll start noticing that little hug. I don't know. I mean, it sounds, I don't know, corny, but, when I sense the presence of God, I know He's there.
Yeah.
That little time in 3rd grade, and He spoke to me, I knew He was real. And to this day, all the crazy things I've done, no matter what happens, I go back to, I want that. I want that.
And people who don't understand it or haven't experienced the love of God yet don't understand that He gave us choice.
Yes.
And so people would say, well, if I was supposed to come to Christ, He would have done it for me. No, I think He wants a willful, intentional move from you to Him. Yeah, He wants to see you walk 2 steps to Him and say, please come into my heart, right?
Yeah.
And why do you think He gave us the ability to choose like that?
Actually, I don't think, God is perfect, right?
Yeah, because He could have done it.
He don't make the stupid mistakes we do, but the more we become like Him, we get better at whatever we're doing. What we're called, when we find out what we're created to do, we really get better at what we do.
Yeah.
When you fall in that mold. But had God not given us a choice, the angels in heaven, they had to praise Him and everything. But if they didn't have a choice to do it, it's not praise. They're robots. Just you can make a tape say, I love you, put it in a vacuum cleaner and let it run around, I love you. That's God wants intimacy, He wants reality.
Yeah.
And you can't hide anything from Him. He knows everything you already done. He still crazy loves you. And no father, if your kids were going out running the street or your kids were messing with a gun or something like that, you're not mad at them because they're doing it, but you don't want them to do anything that's going to kill them. The wages of sin is death. The wages of not finding out who you are, being sin, is death.
Right.
And so, no father wants them to die. That's why His grace is sufficient for some of us who are goofy and do things. And I'm not saying it's a license to go out and mess around and do things that you shouldn't do.
Right.
But He's still covered. And the blood of Jesus is good for all that. His sacrifice paid it all.
Yeah.
So it's not about being a good boy or bad boy, but if you could learn to love Him, let Him speak to you, ask Him to show up, give me signs, however you want to do it, He will.
Yeah.
And that will, and then as you start doing it on purpose and noticing it, you'll start growing.
Yeah.
And pretty soon you're going to find out, and then you'll I guess I will read that Bible,
Yeah.
Look, that happened to me, and it's like, or Lord, I need that. And He's the best dad. He don't have a bad day and get up on Friday and say, you rotten kids, get out of the house, go to hell. If I was God, I probably would have done it with some of the Christians I know. If I would have done that to me. I've done some stupid things, Dale.
Yeah, we have. We all have. Yeah. So let's talk about discernment for a couple of minutes. How did you personally discern what the God's will was for your life?
It's an ongoing thing for me.
Is it?
I'm too eclectic. I think, wow, God wants me to do this. Oh, I do this. I've done more things for a living, more things in ministry, more things for fun.
Yeah.
Then everybody goes, and you start telling them you've done. They go, yeah, right. You're only, when I was 40 years old, they go, you'd have to be 150 years old to have done this, done that, done it. But it didn't mean I did it for a long time. But I'm very eclectic, and I'm very ADD. Oh, something shiny went by, Hey, Lord, look at that. I want to do that, And sometimes the Lord has to break me back in. Sometimes He goes, okay, when you get tired of bumping into the wall, come on back. That rabbit
trail, yeah.
Boy, I'm guilty.
Me too.
Your wife, your kids, your family will tell on you. You know,
They're here to make us humble. You know that.
I've met all the fallen preachers from Haggard, Swaggart, and everything between.
Yeah.
But the thing I found about that is what we're talking about here is once they get the goofy stuff gone, the things that robbed them of their ministry, they have no fame. They're infamous. They're no longer famous. You know,
Right.
They have no credibility or anything else. But that call in their life, and they give in. They accept that. You know, hey, you can hate me if you want, but God still loves you. When they turn into that, they are so much more valid, so much more powerful,
Yes.
so much better at what they were called to do than they
Yeah.
were before they got in trouble.
That's very interesting.
And
I
we
would
all get in
agree
trouble.
certainly with those two.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know? Yeah, they've really come a long way, I would say.
Yeah.
For those who don't understand when you say God sent His Son and through His blood our sins are covered, could you briefly explain that to non-Christians?
You know, all the things that are in there, the blood of Jesus and everything, you have to go back and understand the covenants. You have to understand these things. There's probably a lot to explain now. But the whole thing about that is that He made a way. Before Jesus came, the Jews had their offerings and their their sacrifices and everything else, and then He became the sacrifice.
Right.
So now we don't have to kill those cute little animals, and I'm an animal lover.
Sure,
I got a dog's the best dog in the world. Anyway, but hi Toby. Anyway, but you know, it is important. But for people who don't understand right now, the first thing I would say is cry out to God and let Him start showing Himself real, and get somewhere where somebody who can lovingly explain to you these things, because what it is, we know God's real, but we don't know how to acquire things. And the Bible brings it through, history brings it through, through our heritages and how the church has grown.
Right.
And in some ways, the church has been really crippled because of silly things men did instead of just sticking to that word.
Oh, yeah.
Some people are afraid to read that word. Some people don't like to read it. I think sometimes because we go like, oh, or I don't understand it, so that makes me look dumb. Or
I don't want to give up my favorite sin.
Yeah, well,
And
you know what's funny about that? After a while, I mean, I've had a few of those.
Me too.
You know what I'm saying? And after a while, you go, it's just not worth.
He takes it away from you.
Yeah, it's not like like I say, He's not mad at you because you did it. He paid the price. The thing is, you're going to stand before Jesus and say, "What?" Jesus is going to say, "What you do with my blood? What did you do with my body? It was broken." You know, and He said, "Everything I did, you can do as well."
Sure.
There was a preacher came to our church at Calvary Foursquare when I was older, and he was called the chaplain of. In New Orleans, what do they call it?
Oh, yeah. Bourbon Street.
The chaplain of Bourbon Street.
I know who you mean, yeah.
And his saying was, it's fun being saved. Do you know in the last 5 years, I say to someone, it's so fun when you get a chance to watch God work, and either work as you see it or through your own, situation. You lay hands 6 on somebody and they get touched. And,
that's a good
or you're able to share with somebody. He'd tell these funny stories. He was an interesting guy. He said he'd go to the gas station, got to be cleaning his windshield and stuff like that. He says, "Hey," I said, "What?" He says, "If you see that sign up there?" He said, "Yeah." He said, if you take the S off the front of it, that's where you're going to go if you don't know Jesus, And it was like, he's talking about Shell gas station. Now, that was cute, but, I'm sure somewhere down the line it was like, I'm glad that was a joke. But no, I wish that, to get into all the things, it's not complicated.
Yeah.
It may not be the way we learn how life is, but it would be worth your while to find out, because there's so many blessings that come with understanding covenant, understanding the sacrifices.
Right.
You don't have to become a Jew to be, there's no longer Jews or Gentiles. We're His kids.
Yeah. We're God's children.
Yeah, and it's all valid. It's all valid.
Yeah. And grace is another concept.
Absolutely.
That is just crucially important to understand. That God's grace is sufficient for all of us, and all that is, my explanation is, it's totally unmerited favor.
Yeah, that's what grace means.
I know.
Unmerited, people don't earn it.
It's just like God said, "Okay, I am gonna forgive you for everything, and I'm going to watch over you, and I'm going to come into your heart." And what could be better?
Yeah. Well, It's just like the father. You know, we talk about the father.
Yeah.
That's my kid.
Yes.
You mess with my kids? First off, my kids might be totally wrong. I'll put you out and say, hey, we're no later. Leave them alone. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I believe the father, he's the perfect father.
Yes,
he don't
he
have
is.
that bad day.
Yes,
he
he
don't
is.
love you today and mad tomorrow like some earthly fathers do.
Yes.
We could learn a lot from the father and how to be a father.
Wow.
And I wished I'd learned that earlier.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So,
Carter, it's been great having you on the
Thank you.
show. And you've explained some basic concepts in our faith in an easy to understand way that I think will be extremely helpful to people. And I really appreciate it. And please come back.
anytime, man.
Carter Stucker, folks.
Thank you, my friend.
Okay. Whoa. Just a little bit. And as I try to remember to say each and every episode, please walk with Christ. God bless you.
You know, one of the worst feelings imaginable is the feeling of being alone. I mean, this is why solitary confinement is one of the cruelest punishments ever in human history.
Yeah, we were designed for relationships. The most meaningful thing in life is to be truly known by another person.
But this can actually be kind of scary, too. I mean, what if I let people down? Or what if when someone learns who I really am, they'll realize they can't really love me? I mean, how are we supposed to really find meaningful relationships?
And so the Bible speaks to all of this. It says that God created the world in order to share with us the beauty of existence.
God's desire for us is to have significant friendships, to be part of families, to create things, and to share our work with others.
And all the while depending on God as our source of love and life.
But here's the thing, there's so many barriers to that. There's loneliness, fear, hatred.
And the Bible claims that these are a result of our being disconnected from God. Without God, we don't actually know who we are anymore. But at the center of the Bible story is Jesus, who wants to bring us back into a relationship with God. Jesus claimed that God loves us for who we are, and that he calls us into a relationship with him despite our failures. And when you realize how loved you are by God, that he is not ashamed of you, it changes everything. It gives you a source of love that is not your own.
So the story of the Bible is calling us into the most important relationship.
Yeah, it's calling us to know and be known by the Creator God himself.
Morning shine, shine, shine. Las Vegas, shine your light on me.
You've been watching Las Vegas Tonight with your host, Dale Davidson. We hope you've enjoyed this edition of our show. We so appreciate your loyalty to our program. To keep Las Vegas Tonight on the air, please go to our website, vegassaints.org, and click the Donate button. To send a check or money order, please make it out to Dale Wynn Davidson Ministries and mail it to 9030 West Sahara Avenue, Suite 255, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89117. To suggest a guest to appear on the show or any other suggestions or questions, write to Dale at DaleWDavidson@yahoo.com or call him at 702-480-3989.
Shine, Las Vegas, shine.